it is still a Spores. It's not the kind of pause that you want. Roach leading on XP at the moment, alongside his fellow solo laner in Faker. Both of them hitting that level 16 mark. Faker's able to draw a lot of beads.
Yeah.
A lot of his ability to draw them is very, very strong. For those playing at home, that is
Nuguri is about
extended range
to ascend, and there it is. That's Super Saiyan 2. You can actually tell by the glowingness. That's the electricity.
Yeah, because it can't be Super Saiyan 3, can it? Because, like,
no,
she doesn't get longer hair.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll make a skin. I think that you just gave them a great idea.
Yeah, there we go. But it is pretty perfect for Super Saiyan 2 because you get more of those extra electricities.
Yeah.
Nice.
Here's a question. What if LoL... No, they can't do that. I was going to say, what if they increase the level cap? There's a way to balance things. They add one extra... No, that's just way too chaotic.
That seems crazy.
Yeah.
As Epic going to take a bit of damage there. DAMWON hot on the heels of T1, but you can see they're not super happy yet to try and take a fight, unless Showmaker can line up a free shockwave onto everyone, which I doubt he's going to get given the opportunity to. Roach is going that tank set that we were talking about. The Gargoyle's Stone Plate is completed now as well. So he can just press that R button and have, you know, a lot of extra resistances with his Aftershock.
So we're gonna get one team fight, and I don't know how you feel about that, but you let me know. How do you feel?
Well, actually pretty good. I'm glad that I got to have a bit of a break, because that last, like, 5-6 minute team fight was
not
enough.
like this.
In goes Effort to die.
And now DAMWON gonna go over to Baron
and take it for free. Unless T1 can win a 4 versus 5, or Cuz can steal this one out of the way, not able to. That's a free Baron going to DAMWON. So maybe we don't even get a team fight. That'd be sad.
Well, okay, so if you're T1, do you even take Cloud Drake right now?
I mean, yeah, because then he can run
fast.
Well,
I think it's actually really, I think this is genuinely...
Oh, then you give an opportunity for Elder faster. Yeah. Okay.
So this is a really bizarre spot where I think you have to not take it intentionally to deny the Elder spawn. This is something I used to talk about last year, if you remember.
Yeah, I do.
Intentionally not taking dragons or waiting until 29:30. And that is actually what's going to end up happening.
And I actually like it even more now, because you can extend it really, really far. We can possibly have an Elder Drake. If DAMWON now take these off cooldown, the Elder Drake is at least 10 minutes into the future.
Oh, wait. Well, longer than that.
Oh, yeah, sorry. At least 15 minutes. Sorry.
So that is an unholy amount of time to have to wait. And so DAMWON, I mean, the gold score...
Teddy's almost Flame Horizon the clock.
Oh, that's fine.
It's not bad.
Let's take a look at this really quick. So, Effort goes in, and software malfunction.
Well, Nuclear just, like, didn't get... I'm not... So, you know, there are moments, and you can explain in the replay what they were trying to do. We know that Effort was trying to land a hook onto the Aphelios. But beyond that, yeah, that was never going to really happen, was it? Because they didn't even have vision in that area, like, at all.
But also, this is now the spot where things get really awkward. It's all range champions. This is Set's worst nightmare to try to jump into. No one has bonus health, realistically. Everyone can kite away from you. Everyone has repositioning tools. Everyone has movement speed. Set sucks for this exact reason when he gets drafted against in this way, and this is why I've been a really big critic about blue side Set picks super early on. I have no problem with him coming in on B4, B5 inside of the draft, but when you B1 him, and then something like this ends up happening, it definitely can start to highlight some of his weaknesses, but also show you, well, you can just recalibrate your draft and adjust it and then sort of invalidate one of their champions. It's another thing that, you know, on the podcast that we have going on, I talked about.
Yeah, this was a perfect highlight of exactly what you were talking about on the podcast, of Set just not having enough modes to validate his
B1
priority pick.
Yeah. And unless he's severely overtuned, because sometimes that does exist.
Yeah.
Sometimes a champion only has one mode,
but
they're
do it
overtuned.
so well, right? Yeah.
They're so overtuned that it just doesn't matter.
Well, T1 had a pretty linear gold expansion, as you saw during their denial of the jungle camps and the incredible amount of inaction that was happening. They still have that 4,000 gold lead. That's the Vigil that flies down. Gravitum, of course, meaning that a lot of CC is available, and Teddy had to use his Mercurial Scimitar. But otherwise not going to find too much as DAMWON now, they're getting aggressive. The hook is going to come in, Cuz body slams out of the way. As Roach wants to try and stop Noggery, but he can't do it. Super Saiyan 2, too strong. And they have to just watch this image turret fall. DAMWON, it feels like things have turned for the more established roster. Yes, T1 retained their bottom side of the map and mid, but this is still Cousin Roach trying to feel things out and trying to get used to this roster on the main stage. And it may take a few weeks before that one is entirely shored up. But Fat Lady has not started warming up her vocal cords as of yet. And we still have a 4,000 gold lead for T1.
Gragas has the Oblivion Orb, by the way, heading towards, I'm assuming, Morello. And so, with the Philios, I assume that he's going to end up picking up Bloodthirster. Kale obviously has her heal. She has quite a bit of AP coming in, also has the Gunblade. I mean, at this point, when you're starved economically as a jungler, and you already have the Oblivion Orb because it's actually so valuable due to the lack of magic resistance on the enemy team, I mean, I'm going to actually go ahead here. I'm going to give him a pass. Okay?
All right.
That is a Morello okay call.
Whew.
Yeah.
I never thought we'd see the day. You've done it before that one time, but I like to try and forget it because it's not on brand. Noggery looks like he's going for the ultimate greed max damage build. Looking for Rabbidan's Death Cap into Void Staff, most likely. We'll see whether he does commit to it. I like it, personally, because it means that even the ultimate is just going to proc for massive damage. And then you can do some really interesting things. Do you remember the Kai'Sa comp, of course, you know, where you dive yourself into the backline. This is something that DAMWON was very, very good at with Nuclear on the sort of suicide Kai'Sa into the back. Because Aphelios, with his short-range weaponry, does have opportunities to play really up close and personal for maximum deeps. You can just put an ult on him and keep him alive for a really long time. You can be that bomb that we were looking at.
Yeah.
As now T1 will lock down the Dragon Soul.
Actually really risky now, though. This is a little bit peculiar, especially because it's not going to line up with Baron respawn, so it's not like there's a guillotine.
But if they can win this team fight, it certainly will be good news for them, and T1 now have the Dragon Soul to help them out.
Oh!
There's the Gravitum. It's going to get a snare onto the set, but he's not exactly the target they want. Two-man Shockwave into the backside, but Roach is so strong. The Aphelios immediately gets rid of Faker, and now Beryl lands a hook from beyond the grave. Canyon gets the kickback, but Roach uses it as a taxi. Teddy has taken down the Thresh, but can they actually find the team fight because Nuclear is so damn strong? Not going to have him just yet. Has himself the Severum now, cycling it back and forth. Not exactly a lot of range, but the DPS that these weapons have from Nuclear is really high.
The minions are going to die, so it looked like T1 was actually thinking, we're going to get the inhibitor turret at the very least, but you can see the problem T1 are going to have in teamfight. Set does not have a target that he can obviously go on. Let's take a look at it one more time. Effort, I mean, Aphelios doesn't get the most insane ultimate. Set ends up getting hooked up. Beryl looks like he's just going to die. Canyon kicks Faker into the team. Roach goes into DAMWON, and then Kale says, hey, what's up? And then Set has to run for the hills, ults Canyon back into the team, and now he's done. He is completely out of this fight. He can press Q and E however long he wants, but his job is just completely over. He's invalidated as a champion. And then they had to run for the hills, and now DAMWON, they have the Baron.
And they're starting to get towards the point of no return for T1. These items are stacking like you would not believe. Looks like Noggery is going to forego the Void Staff. Wants to get towards his Zhonya's Hourglass instead, just to give himself even more invulnerability.
And, you know, I talked about this in the draft, that DAMWON, if it reached this stage of, or not even this stage, I mean, it's been this way for about 12, 13 minutes. It becomes so impossible for T1 to do anything. This is a game where Tristana had how many plates? 9?
Yeah.
10?
Many
maybe?
plates.
And she had a kill on her as well. She had everything that you could dream of. All of the lanes were basically completely fine. Your Gragas wasn't able to do true damage. You had a 6,000 gold lead in the mid-game, and you can't do anything with it. And even DAMWON was actually fumbling the mid-game, not freezing side lanes and denying XP and stuff like that. And the game just gravitates towards this stage, and we're seeing yet another draft issue highlighted now. In game number 2, T1 had so much better patience.
Not going to be enough. Canyon going to survive. That is a full round of spells, but Faker did not invest the Ignite. Might have actually been a kill if that was there, but hindsight 2020 and all that. Command Protect would have had a pretty short cooldown at this stage of the game. Double Bloodthirsters for both 80 carries of T1. Mercurial Scimitar completed. For Teddy, very close to more of Malmortius' 6th item. And damage dealt now. It's Nuclear that's finally able to eclipse this squad. Having a redeeming performance here on the Aphelios. He was a bit forgettable in game 1 on the pick, but now maximum gold bounty. Hasn't died so far this game and even has a GA in case anyone from T1 gets their hands on him.
This is a really, really dangerous situation if you're a T1 fan. And like I was saying, in game number 2, T1, they remain calm and patient, and eventually DAMWON entered into them. This time, it's a lot more difficult. Nuguri's on a range champion.
Yeah.
That's not supposed to go in first, so they don't sort of have...
Even, like, Nuguri actually has no ways to, you know, use his kit to, like, int really aggressively, and also only has things into his kit that allow him to survive for longer. So, sort of like the opposite of what Seth does. Almost the perfect pickup for Nuguri. I know, no Klepto available here, so it's not the classic Klepto Nuguri Kale. It's still the closest thing we can do.
One of the other things that I'm wondering right now is if T1 actually acknowledged, like, hey, we're not going to win this game, we need to just get Elder and flip.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that could be one of the potential thought processes. Oh, man. It just feels really...
Well, that'll kill the minion wave. Teddy will have that one available quite soon as he goes back to base to finish his more of Malmortius. He's the last one that has a huge gold bounty on T1's side, so keeping him alive will certainly be a priority in the coming fight. But Canyon, I can feel the target that Teddy has on his back from this guy. Canyon has been so accurate in his insect plays.
Yeah. And the other thing is, you know, what feels so bad about this, Atlas, is regardless of if T1 win this or not, through outplaying DAMWON inside of a team fight,
or out-rotating them towards an inhibitor.
Yeah, or just out-macroing them, it doesn't change the state of the game or the position that they're currently in. And we spent probably 20 minutes talking about this in the podcast.
Yeah.
And it just, I hope it's really not a foreshadowing of what's to come for the rest of Spring Split, because in the podcast I talked about this very thing plaguing this team.
We haven't seen the adaptation on the drafts that we were asking for during the POG state, but we do have many, many weeks to go. Okay, that's the ultimate. That's going to start things off here. Effort taking a lot of damage. Q is going to register. Possible taxi into the back line, but that is going to be the disengage, getting Nuguri out of the fight, and the ultimate now on cooldown. Great Buster shot there from Faker. No! The hook back onto Beryl, not the target that they're looking for, but is going to be the first kill there for Teddy as Canyon goes down to his GA, and Roach is just tanking up damage in the back line. There's the bullet time, but interrupted immediately with the shockwave, and now Teddy having to get himself out. But still, a T1 team fight win. They lost no one, but 2 on DAMWON's side.
And they're going to end up getting the
How
Elder
are they
Drag.
doing this?
They're out-muscling DAMWON in fights that should be truthfully impossible to win when you consider the level of players.
Damn.
That
this is actually something that we were talking about that could be a detriment for a team like T1. You know, if you can, you know, opt into a draft like this and still win, then that's when the complacency starts setting in, you know. This is where the danger that we were referring to could potentially happen. But damn, dude, it is cool watching T1 navigate around hard mode team fights in the late game.
And, you know, the invert is also applicable. And what if you're DAMWON here and you think that you're losing because you fell behind early, or you attribute it to things that aren't really what is causing you to lose. Now, they get the Baron, and it wasn't immediately off of a reset, so they're going to lose some time recalling. We take a look at how this fight transpires. Now, the KO ultimate, obviously being cast early, Beryl walking way too far forward, ends up getting hooked by Effort, and then the teams just get completely separated. Canyon going in solo, doing his best Leroy Nuggery impression from game number 2. And Roach, you can see that he wasn't really able to do anything, but because the teammates were separated.
And that's the difference between a team fight where Canyon kicks one of the 80 carries and a team fight where he accidentally kicks Cuz instead. Because that is not the target that you want. He has his Zhonya's completed. He almost has a death cap, for goodness sake, on this Gragas, who's going to be doing a lot of damage in his own right. Now we've got double 6-item 80 carry for T1, which is utterly terrifying. 304 for Teddy. He's been farming every minion possible so far this game. Over 500 as we crest the 44-minute mark. And now the siege is on with Elder Drake available and Dragon Soul. Everything T1 could ever want to help win this one.
They have to be so careful. Gunblade active, actually utilized right there by Nuggery.
They can't do this. There's just no way for them to even get to these siege minions.
It's Baron Elder. You can have any team comp. You can have Teemo right now, and he would still probably be a menace. So they need to just give up.
Sorry, Teemo is always a menace, by the way.
What?
He's always a menace.
Get out.
No matter what.
Teemo,
whether he's on your team, on the enemy team, no matter what he's doing, he's always a menace. Whether he's a relevant menace in the game, strategically, is the different story.
There's no team in Teemo. You know, you realize that?
Wait a sec. Yeah, you're right.
There is actually no
you
team
can't
in Teemo.
spell it unless you spell it wrong.
There is a me.
Yeah, there
and
is.
A two.
There is me. Me too. Me too. There's a. We have both. Actually, no, there's not, because there's no double O, and you're going to spell 2 correctly, aren't you?
Teemo spells it like that.
Does it?
Yeah, that's Yordle.
Okay.
That's Yordle for you.
Well, T1, they're getting themselves towards the last remaining inhibitor. And DAMWON are doing their very best to wait this one out. Elder Drake has dissipated. Now would be
this
a time
is a fair fight now,
where DAMWON can actually try and get in, but T1, they recognize that they just need to follow a whole bunch of super creeps towards Nexus turrets and utilize the 6th man in order to get themselves the victory. I like them opting out of a straight-up, front-to-back, face-to-face team fight. As they go home, we've got Effort. He's the only one that doesn't... Oh, no, apart from Roach as well. Neither the top lane or the support have their flashes, but good God, Teddy does a lot of damage. That red buff did not stand a chance. As T1, the Sharks are now circling DAMWON's base. There's double super creeps per wave. Taxi their way forward. Waves in decent spots here, as DAMWON do have to deal with this mid lane wave first. And as the top and bot crash, should be a moment for T1 to just break down the front door. Try and take some Nexus turrets with their exorbitant amount of turret damage. But it's not over until it's over. Faker went back, got himself his rapid fire cannon, even more range for the level 18 Tristana is quite worrisome.
And so with all the super minions collapsing, one of the waves is obviously misaligned.
Yeah. Saw Showmaker just cycling his flashback available again. Try and get ready to make a play. And DAMWON, they have to do something here. As Teddy struts just to get out of the way of all of those abilities flying at him from DAMWON.
Showmaker trying to clear Effort, maybe looking for a hook on him.
Yep, keep your eyes on Canyon. Doesn't find that Q. He's the one that wants to start off these fights, but Teddy says no. He's just going to try and obliterate 4 people by themselves.
They're going to shred the
just buy
Nexus!
space. Yep, this is just game over. T1 have turned around that game 1 loss and will take the 2-1 over DAMWON in the first match of 2020 Spring LCK.
This was 2 back-to-back major upsets at the dancing point of literally the game critical point. So,
but also so beautifully done. I find this like really, really hard, right? Because we've had these conversations about like draft phase not working and you should be winning fights here, but you're not. But the fact that T1 had the finesse to outthink DAMWON in 2 team fights in a row to win a game at a state where they should have lost is beautiful to watch. Despite the fact that it is still a little bit heartbreaking, given the fact that it is sort of instilling in